The Aztecs, or more accurately the Mexica, were a people of great innovation and cultural richness. They flourished in Mesoamerica from the 14th to the 16th centuries. Their story is one of migration, adaptation, and the rise of a powerful empire. The Mexica believed they were the people of the fifth sun. This meant they lived in the fifth era of creation, according to their cosmology. The Mexica were not native to central Mexico. They arrived in the Valley of Mexico after a long migration from the north. Their origins are shrouded in myth and legend. The exact location of their homeland, Aztlán, remains a mystery. However, their journey shaped their identity and their destiny. The Mexica's arrival in the Valley of Mexico was a pivotal moment in their history. They entered a land of established city-states and competing powers. The newcomers were initially seen as barbarians. They were not welcomed with open arms. The Mexica were forced to adapt and persevere in a challenging new environment. They honed their skills as warriors and strategists. The Mexica eventually established themselves as a force to be reckoned with. They would eventually rise to dominate the region and build an empire that left an indelible mark on history. The Mexica's journey from Aztlán to the Valley of Mexico was long and arduous. It was fraught with challenges and dangers. They traversed harsh deserts and rugged mountains. They relied on their faith and their resilience to guide them. The exact route they took is still debated by historians. Oral histories and archaeological evidence suggest a journey that lasted for generations. The Mexica were not a single group migrating en masse. Instead, they likely traveled in smaller groups over an extended period. They adapted to different environments and interacted with other cultures along the way. This interaction and adaptation played a crucial role in shaping Mexica identity. They incorporated elements of other cultures into their own. They also developed their own unique customs and traditions. By the time they reached the Valley of Mexico, the Mexica were a distinct and resilient people. Their shared history and collective memory of their epic journey served as a unifying force. It instilled in them a sense of purpose and destiny. This would be essential in their rise to power. The Valley of Mexico, where the Mexica eventually settled, is a high-altitude basin. It is surrounded by towering volcanoes and rugged mountains. At the heart of this basin lay a vast lake, Lake Texcoco. The lake was teeming with fish and waterfowl. Its fertile shores supported a variety of crops. The Valley of Mexico was already home to several established city-states. These were often in conflict with one another. The arrival of the Mexica added another layer of complexity to this already dynamic and competitive environment. The Mexica initially struggled to find a place for themselves in this crowded landscape. They were seen as outsiders. They were often relegated to marginal lands. However, they saw opportunity in the challenges presented by Lake Texcoco. The lake, while a source of sustenance, also posed a challenge for agriculture. The Mexica would turn this challenge into an opportunity. They developed innovative techniques to cultivate the lake's shallows. This would become the foundation of their success. The Mexica's solution to the challenges of farming in Lake Texcoco was ingenious. They created chinampas, or floating gardens. These were artificial islands built up from the shallow lake bed. Chinampas were incredibly productive. They allowed for year-round cultivation. To create a chinampa, the Mexica would first stake out a rectangular plot in the shallow water. They then wove reeds and branches together to form a base. This base was then layered with mud dredged from the lake bottoms and decaying vegetation. These layers would eventually form a rich and fertile soil. Trees were planted at the edges of the chinampas to provide stability. The result was a highly productive and sustainable agricultural system. Chinampas provided the Mexica with a stable food supply. This allowed them to support a growing population. The surplus food could also be traded with other city-states. This gave the Mexica economic leverage and influence. Section 5. A Pantheon of Gods. Religion permeated every aspect of Mexican life. They believed in a complex pantheon of gods who governed the natural world, human affairs, and the cosmos. The Mexica gods were not benevolent deities. They were powerful forces to be appeased through offerings, rituals, and sacrifices. At the heart of their belief system was the idea of cyclical creation and destruction. The Mexica believed that the universe had gone through 5 distinct eras, each ending in a cataclysmic event. They believed they were living in the 5th era, the 5th sun. They were acutely aware of its potential for destruction. Human sacrifice, while abhorrent by modern standards, was a central aspect of Mexica religion. They believed that the gods required a constant supply of human hearts and blood to sustain themselves and ensure the continuation of the world. Temples, adorned with intricate carvings and vibrant murals, dominated the Mexica cityscapes. Priests, who held considerable power and influence, conducted elaborate rituals and ceremonies to honor the gods and maintain cosmic balance. Section 6. An eagle, a snake, and a prophecy fulfilled. According to Mexica legend, their patron god, Huitzilopochtli, had given them a specific sign to guide them to their promised land. He told them to search for an eagle perched on a cactus, devouring a snake. This sign, they believed, would mark the spot where they were to build their grand city. After much wandering, the Mexica arrived at a small, swampy island in the western part of Lake Texcoco. There, they witnessed the prophesied sign. An eagle, clutching a serpent in its talons, sat atop a prickly pear cactus. Taking this as a divine mandate, the Mexica founded their city on that very spot in 1325 CE. They named it Tenochtitlan, meaning place of the prickly pear cactus. This seemingly inhospitable location, surrounded by the shallow waters of the lake, would prove to be an inspired choice. The lake provided natural protection from invaders. The surrounding waters were teeming with fish and waterfowl. The fertile land around the lake was ideal for agriculture. The founding of Tenochtitlan marked a turning point in the Mexica's story. It was here that they would transform themselves from a marginalized group of wanderers into the builders of a powerful empire. Section 7. The Rise of the Mexica. From their island city of Tenochtitlan, the Mexica embarked on a remarkable campaign of expansion. They forged alliances with neighboring city-states, often through strategic marriages and political maneuvering. However, they were also fierce warriors. They did not shy away from conflict when necessary. The Mexica were skilled in both warfare and diplomacy. They gradually expanded their influence over the Valley of Mexico. They formed the Triple Alliance with the city-states of Texcoco and Tlacopan. This alliance would become the dominant force in central Mexico. The Mexica's success in battle was due in part to their military prowess. They were also masters of psychological warfare. They would often intimidate their enemies with elaborate rituals and displays of power. They also used a system of tribute to consolidate their control over conquered territories. The conquered cities would send goods, raw materials, and even captives to Tenochtitlan. This tribute system not only enriched the Mexica, but also provided a steady stream of sacrificial victims for their religious rituals. Section 8. A Tapestry of Society. Mexica society was a complex tapestry of social classes, occupations, and religious beliefs. At the apex of this hierarchy was the Tlatoani, the supreme ruler, who was considered to be the representative of the gods on earth. Below the Tlatoani were the nobles, a privileged class who held important positions in government, the military, and the priesthood. Warriors, highly respected in Mexican society, could rise through the ranks based on their valor and success in battle. Merchants, who traveled far and wide to trade goods, held a unique position in Mexican society. They acted as the eyes and ears of the empire. They brought back valuable information about distant lands and potential rivals. Artisans skilled in crafts such as pottery, weaving, and featherworking produced beautiful and intricate objects that reflected the sophistication of Mexica culture. At the base of the social pyramid were the farmers, who formed the backbone of the empire, and slaves, who were typically prisoners of war or debtors. Despite this rigid social hierarchy, there was some degree of social mobility. Individuals could rise in status through acts of bravery, exceptional skill, or religious devotion. Section 9. The Fall of an Empire. By the early 16th century, the Mexica Empire had reached its zenith. Tenochtitlan, their magnificent capital city, was a testament to their power and ingenuity. However, the seeds of their downfall had already been sown. In 1519, Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conquistador, landed on the coast of Mexico. He had come seeking gold and glory. He found both, but not in the way he had imagined. Cortés and his small army, aided by indigenous allies who resented Mexica rule, marched on Tenochtitlan. The Mexica, initially hesitant to engage in open warfare with these strange newcomers, were unprepared for the technological superiority of the Spanish. Horses, firearms, and steel swords proved devastating against the Mexica's obsidian-bladed weapons and cotton armor. The Mexica fought bravely, but disease brought by the Spanish ravaged their population. The siege of Tenochtitlan was long and brutal. The once great city fell to the Spanish in 1521. The fall of Tenochtitlan marked the end of the Mexica Empire. The Spanish conquest had a devastating impact on the Mexica people. Their cities were destroyed, their temples desecrated, and their culture suppressed. Yet, the legacy of the Mexica lives on. Their story is a testament to human ingenuity, resilience, and the enduring power of culture.